Martin Luther King Jr., a name etched in history as a fearless advocate for justice and equality. A man whose dream lit the hearts of millions, and whose voice became the anthem of a movement seeking dignity for all. He stood against the deep-rooted injustices of racial segregation, and with unmatched resilience, fought for the rights of African Americans, breathing new life into the spirit of freedom. His speeches did not merely echo through crowded streets. They stirred the soul of a nation, challenging it to live up to its founding promises. Though hatred tried to silence him, his ideas grew stronger, transcending generations and borders. Today we reflect on one of his most iconic moments, the "I Have a Dream" speech. A vision not just for one community, but for humanity as a whole. Though Dr. King's journey was tragically ended by an assassin's bullet in 1968, his legacy remains a burning torch that lights the path toward equality. Let's dive into his timeless words, their enduring spirit, and why they still matter today. Standing before thousands at the Lincoln Memorial, Dr. King began with words that would etch themselves into the soul of America. I am honored to join with you today in a demonstration that will be remembered as a turning point for freedom. He spoke of a historic moment a century earlier, when President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, a decree that broke the chains of slavery for millions. It was a glorious light piercing through the darkness of oppression. Yet, even after 100 years, Black Americans remained shackled by injustice. Dr. King painted a vivid picture, a people isolated on an island of poverty, surrounded by a vast ocean of wealth. He declared that the time had come for America to live out its creed, that all men are created equal. "I dream," he proclaimed, "of a day when the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will sit together at the table of brotherhood." He dared to imagine that even Mississippi, a place deeply scarred by hatred, would one day be transformed into a sanctuary of freedom and justice. He dreamed of a future where his 4 children would be judged not by the shade of their skin, but by the richness of their character. With soaring hope, he declared, "I have a dream today." He envisioned a time when the vicious racism of Alabama would crumble, when black and white children would join hands as brothers and sisters, their laughter ringing out in unity. He spoke of valleys lifted, mountains humbled, crooked places straightened, a world where justice flows like a mighty river, and the glory of God is revealed for all to see. Armed with faith, Dr. King called for perseverance. With this faith, we will carve from the mountain of despair a stone of hope. Together, we will struggle, pray, suffer, and stand side by side, knowing that freedom is within our reach. He dreamed of a day when all of God's children, black and white, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, would join hands and sing the anthem of true liberation. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. If America is to fulfill its destiny, he urged, then freedom must echo from every hill and valley, from New Hampshire's towering peaks to Georgia's red hills, from Colorado's snow-capped mountains to Mississippi's rolling fields. Freedom must ring from every corner of the land. And when it does, the world will witness a symphony of brotherhood like never before. Visit our platform at EnglishesPECchannel.com for full transcripts, offline audio access, English lessons, and exclusive ebooks to enrich your learning journey. In a time when darkness clouded the American dream, one voice rose above fear and division, a voice that refused to be silenced, a heart that dared to believe in justice for all. That voice belonged to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a man whose life became a bridge between broken promises and the hope of a better tomorrow. He did not just speak of freedom, he carried it like a torch through the darkest nights. Every word he uttered was a challenge to an unjust world, a plea to awaken the conscience of a sleeping nation. His dream was not built on bitterness, but born from a profound faith in the goodness that humanity could still achieve. Today we honor a moment in history when he stood before thousands, under the gaze of Abraham Lincoln's memorial, and shared a vision so powerful that it shook the very foundations of injustice. He reminded America that a century earlier, a great promise had been made, a promise of freedom, etched into history through the Emancipation Proclamation. And yet, 100 years later, millions of African Americans remain trapped, not by chains of iron, but by chains of hatred, prejudice, and poverty. Dr. King spoke of a reality where African Americans were exiled within their own land, stranded on an island of despair amidst oceans of wealth. He called out a broken system and demanded that the nation rise and fulfill its pledge, that all men are created equal. He dreamed, not merely with words, but with a faith that could move mountains. He dreamed of a day when descendants of slaves and slave owners could sit together, not as enemies, but as brothers. He envisioned a future where states once soaked in the fires of injustice, like Mississippi and Alabama, would be transformed into fields of peace and equality, where hatred would wither away, and in its place, a new harvest of love and justice would grow. "I have a dream today," he declared, "a dream of children judged not by the hue of their skin but by the depth of their hearts." He saw a day when rough roads would be made smooth, where mountains of pride would bow, and valleys of despair would rise up. A day when all humanity would walk together in the light of truth. With faith stronger than fear, he believed that from the jagged cliffs of injustice, a new dawn would break. A dawn where hope would chisel its way out of despair, where freedom would echo through every town, every city, and every soul. He called for unity, to work together, pray together, struggle together, not as strangers, but as family bound by a common destiny. When that day arrives, he said, the old songs of sorrow will give way to new songs of triumph. From New Hampshire's snowy peaks to the red hills of Georgia, from Colorado's mighty Rockies to the rolling hills of Mississippi, freedom's voice would rise and ring clear across every valley and mountaintop. And when liberty's bell tolls from every corner of the nation, then and only then will we be able to shout together, "Free at last! Free at last! Thank God Almighty, we are free at last." Dr. King's dream was not a dream limited by time. It was, and still is, a call to action. A call to every generation to rise, to hope, to heal, and to build a world where equality is not just a dream spoken, but a reality lived. Let us not simply remember his words. Let us carry them forward. Let us dare to dream, and dare even more to make those dreams real. Visit our platform at EnglishIsPX.com to find full transcripts, offline audio collections, English lessons, and inspiring ebooks designed to deepen your understanding and fuel your own voice for change.